Welcome. This is James Corbett of the Corbett Report with the inaugural edition of The Eye Opener, a new weekly video series produced in conjunction with BoilingFrogsPost.com. And now for the real news. A group of American national security whistleblowers, civil liberty campaigners, anti-war groups, national whistleblower organizations, and others are set to release a petition tomorrow asking a group of NGOs to take back the Transparency Award they bestowed on President Obama last March for his supposed attempt to fight against government secrecy. The petition, drafted by noted FBI whistleblowers Sibel Edmonds and Colleen Rowley, rebukes both the Obama administration for its track record on secrecy and the NGOs that presented him with a Transparency Award. Originally scheduled to be bestowed on the president in a publicly scheduled ceremony at the White House during Sunshine Week, that ceremony was cancelled at the last moment, and the award, supposedly a token of praise for Obama's stated commitment to government openness, was itself bestowed on the president in a secret, off-the-record meeting to which the press was not invited. As one of the groups that bestowed the award on Obama wrote in their press release regarding the event, "We were disappointed that no press photographer and no pool reporter were at the meeting. We were really surprised to learn it was not on the president's daily calendar, especially as it was on his calendar on the originally scheduled date. Why they decided to close the meeting to the press is not something we understand." Among the signatories to the petition are some of the best-known national security whistleblowers in the United States, including FBI whistleblowers Edmonds and Rowley, Pentagon Papers leaker Daniel Ellsberg, NSA whistleblower Russ Tice, retired CIA analyst Ray McGovern, former U.S. diplomat Colonel Ann Wright, Able Danger insider Tony Shaffer, and current and former members of the State Department, U.S. Army, Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security, the Drug Enforcement Administration, the Department of Energy, U.S. Customs, and a coterie of organizations such as the National Whistleblower Center, the September 11th Advocates, the Bring Our Troops Home Coalition, and many others. Last week, I talked to the co-drafter of the petition, ex-FBI language specialist Sibel Edmonds, about the petition and its goal, and why this group considers it important to get the NGOs involved to take back their Transparency Award from Obama.
So again, speaking of transparency, we know this president's record. We have been very alarmed. Next week, we are going to see a new trial of another whistleblower, Thomas Drake, NSA whistleblower, is going to begin. And during this period, 5 organizations that advertise themselves as anti-secrecy, pro-transparency, went to the White House and presented this president with an anti-secrecy award, the Transparency Award. Now, this did not take place 2 years ago during the beginning of this presidency. That way, if that were to be the case, we could have said, okay, well, they are trying to offer some carrots to the president and try to encourage him to be more open and not to follow the suit that the previous administration had. But this award was presented to this president 2 months ago. This is after this president had invoked 4 or 5 times of state secrets privilege to shut down legitimate cases. This is after this president had gone after whistleblowers, trying to persecute and prosecute and jail these whistleblowers. We have Bradley Manning right now sitting in jail with no right to have bail. So and this is after this president has increased secrecy, whether it's FOIA or it's the White House own secrecy, including their own visitors log. So after all these actions and after all these records have been out there for everyone to see, you see 5 organizations walking to the White House and presenting this president with Transparency Award. And not only that, doing that in secrecy. This meeting, the ceremony was secret. What happened, what took place during the ceremony is still secret. We keep getting changing stories from these organizations. In fact, the president doesn't want this to be even shown in the any kind of a log or records of the White House meetings and ceremonies. I mean, this is outrageous.
The idea that the Obama presidency was going to begin a new era in government openness came from the president himself, who on his first day in office used the occasion of his first press conference to promise Americans greater transparency, and used his first executive order to direct government agencies to err on the side of openness in the face of freedom of information requests.
For a long time now, there's been too much secrecy in this city. The old rules said that if there was a defensible argument for not disclosing something to the American people, then it should not be disclosed. That era is now over. Starting today, every agency and department should know that this administration stands on the side not of those who seek to withhold information, but those who seek to make it known. To be sure, issues like personal privacy and national security must be treated with the care they demand. But the mere fact that you have the legal power to keep something secret does not mean you should always use it. The Freedom of Information Act is perhaps the most powerful instrument we have for making our government honest and transparent.
This appears to be the sentiment that the NGOs who bestowed Obama with his Transparency Award were rewarding and encouraging. The 5 NGOs involved in the secret White House meeting to award Obama for his openness were the Project on Government Oversight, OMB Watch, OpenTheGovernment.org, the National Security Archive, and Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press. Each of the organizations was invited to comment on this story. In an email to the Corbett Report, Gary Bass of OMB Watch stated that although all sides agree that more needs to be done, Obama has made breathtaking changes within 2.5 years in opening up the government to accountability, citing some specific examples. EPA is creating the Greenhouse Gas Registry. FDA has established new ways of inviting public participation. Medicare has more disclosure about its program. CPSC has created an online complaints database. Many agencies now have blogs, use social media, and are adapting to mobile apps. Joe Newman of the Project on Government Oversight wrote, "I think we've made it clear that the president has shortcomings when it comes to transparency, but I'd also challenge any impartial observer to refute the fact that he has made significant strides in opening up the government, especially when compared to his predecessor." As the petition itself points out, Obama's presidency has amassed the worst record in U.S. history for persecuting, prosecuting, and jailing government whistleblowers and truth-tellers. Indeed, this is not an immeasurable claim. Given that the Obama DOJ is currently prosecuting 5 alleged national security whistleblowers, his administration is actually engaged in more such prosecutions than have occurred in all previous administrations combined. The whistleblowers being prosecuted include Bradley Manning, who was locked in a Marine Corps detention cell measuring 6 by 12 feet for nearly a year without any clothing except his underwear, without bedsheets or pillow, his eyeglasses, or even writing implements, all for having been accused of having leaked U.S. Army documents to WikiLeaks. And Thomas Drake, an NSA whistleblower who exposed massive governmental overreach in a data collection and analysis project that violated the Constitution and numerous other laws and statutes. The Obama presidency has also seen a marked rise in the invocation of the state secrets privilege, a draconian use of executive authority to stop claimants against the government from even arguing their case in court. So far, the Obama DOJ has invoked state secrets privilege to quash lawsuits against companies that aided the CIA in their illegal torture and kidnapping program, and stop legal redress against the government's illegal warrantless wiretapping program. One of the most brazen uses of state secrets privilege came last year, after Obama had claimed the right to assassinate American citizens without a trial or even bringing charges against them. The father of Anwar al-Awlaki, the American citizen and alleged terrorist whom the Obama administration had targeted for assassination, filed a lawsuit to stop Obama from killing his son. Amazingly, the Obama DOJ invoked the state secrets privilege to stop the case from being heard before the court. At the time, an astounded Glenn Greenwald wrote, "Not only does the president have the right to sentence Americans to death with no due process or charges of any kind, but his decisions as to who will be killed and why he wants them dead are state secrets, and thus no court may adjudicate their legality." The petition goes on to list the other grievances that the transparency community has with the Obama administration, including its use of grand juries to target journalists and their sources, its maintenance of sites like Bagram for holding illegally and secretly kidnapped detainees, and Obama's refusal to provide full access to White House visitors' logs, a point that he actually joked about as the NGO representatives were entering to give him his award for transparency. Still, the NGOs behind the award argue that they hoped their token would help push the Obama administration in the right direction. Wrote Gary Bass, "I believe in both the carrot and the stick. I do not find it inconsistent to provide reward for good behavior and criticism for bad behavior. Hence, I have no problem with praising the president for his commitment to openness and transparency while simultaneously telling him what he needs to do better to live up to his commitment." Joining me in a phone conversation to address these arguments late last week was FBI whistleblower and petition co-author Colleen Rowley.
Well, I think the award started not because Obama should be given an award for transparency. In fact, he should be awarded for increasing secrecy, just the opposite. But the motivation seems to have been the chance, getting a chance to lobby Obama in an aspirational way for him to become more transparent. It's the old use of the carrot instead of, criticism, the stick. And I think these 5 open government organizations were doing something very similar to what the Nobel Peace Prize organizers were doing. They were trying to give him a nudge in an aspirational way to become more transparent. If the 5 open government organizations had done this and there had been no Nobel Peace Prize, a while back, and we didn't have that track record of seeing Obama not, of course, be susceptible at all to that nudge in the carrot, then I think, if they'd done this before, maybe you could say, well, they tried. They're trying to get him to do, listen to his better angels. But in light of the experience of the Nobel Peace Prize, I think we're in 5 wars, and he's actually increased, the use of the military all over the world. I think it was really dumb. And of course, we have over 10 different reasons showing here how secrecy has increased. And he should not have been basically emboldened by this award to probably even do worse in increasing secrecy.
When asked why such a prominent list of noted national security whistleblowers, professionals, and government officials would be lining up to protest the awarding of Obama for his commitment to transparency, National Security Archive Director Tom Blanton responded, "I believe their opposition is misplaced, and they need more precision-guided advocacy. Know thy enemy. Obama is not their enemy." The petition will be released tomorrow with a dedicated website and a campaign to bring more attention to the dismal state of governmental transparency under Obama's leadership. Stay tuned to boilingfrogspost.com for more details. This video is part of a new weekly video news series. Future editions of this series will be available to subscribers of boilingfrogspost.com. For more news and commentary from James Corbett, please visit corbettreport.com.